All right, welcome to another episode of the All American Hoops podcast. This is episode. Well, first of all, can you guys hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good. Yeah, I know my screen's lagging probably because the virtual background might have to pop up. I'll address that in a second. But before I do, this is episode 68. AKA, there was one player in NBA history to ever wear the number 68. That is Milt Schoen, 1947. Again, Detroit Falcons. I'm starting to believe these people don't exist. By the way.
Why didn't you let us guess?
Ha ha ha.
I would have known.
I don't like obviously like I'm a respecter of the history of the game. I don't believe these people existed. I think they're just filling in people's numbers now. I don't believe it. I'm sorry. But also any chance did you guys take a look at which Mets wore the number 68? I was only familiar with one of their names.
Jeff McNeil.
Did he wear 68
when he first came up? He was 68, I think.
Oh, I didn't see that. Okay, yeah, I believe you. But there's another play. Oh yeah, Jeff McNeil. You're right. What was that?
Nice. I said that was a guess.
Yeah, 2018. So this player wore 68 for the Mets in 2020 and 2021.
Pitcher. Gazelman didn't wear 68.
No.
I don't know, John. Do you have any idea?
No, but I know that Ben Bredesen on the New York Giants wore it.
Okay.
He sucked.
This pitcher pitched for both the Mets and right before he pitched for the Yankees.
Joely Rodriguez? No. David Robertson didn't wear 68.
Want me to say?
What was the hint?
He played for relief pitcher. I didn't give you a relief pitcher until now, but relief pitcher pitched for the Yankees and then the Mets 2020 and 2021.
Oh, Betances.
Oh, that guy sucked.
Yeah, he was awful on the Mets.
Number 68.
Yeah. But anyway, sure you can see my virtual background now, which I don't know if I will be keeping during the show, because I'm lagging, or like my sound isn't lagging, but definitely my hands motions are lagging, not so much my face, but we'll see. But either way, I'm gonna step away from the camera for a second. As you can see, very cool background made by Tony, aka Sports Fluence, the producer of the show. Got a nice little American flag. Very patriotic show, as we mentioned before. American Hoops with, of course, many Celtics logos and jerseys. So got the Jay Crowder honorary right there. Can't wait to mention him in episode 99 in a few months, probably. But very cool backgrounds, even if I don't know if I want to keep it during the show. Maybe I'll just use it for NBA Max. But we'll see how I'm feeling halfway through the show. Maybe before that. But anyway, we got a pretty good show ahead of us. We're gonna be, as it mentions in the title, we got Bill Simmons just made a documentary about the Celtics. So of course, we're going to talk about that. The Celtics have been on a bit of a roll lately. They made history last night, so we're going to be discussing that game, of course. After that would be sad news this past week in the NBA. Kyrie Irving is out for the season, so we'll be talking about like the fall of the Mavs and how everything has gone wrong for them ever since their high last year beating the Timberwolves. Or if you really want to consider, if you want to consider the delusional Mavs fans, you consider Game 4 of the NBA Finals last year. That was the last time they were that high, even though they shouldn't have been. Or you could, and then after that, we will discuss the rest of the NBA playoff race, because believe it or not, we're about more than 2/3 of the way into this. Is it more than 2/3? I don't think it's more than 2/3, but about 2/3, like a month left in the season. So very excited about that. John, you know what? You know what we were doing a year ago yesterday?
So yesterday was March 5th. No, I did not.
No. So you, Pete Foreman, and I were recording our first episode under Sports Fluent Media. We were talking about who were we talking about? We were talking about Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. We did a Would You Rather game of that. We were talking about the Celtics for a bit. We talked about the MVP race. And and of course Peter Foreman, since he was on the show, talked about his hatred for Rudy Gobert. We're hoping to have him on again soon. But 1 year, but yesterday 1 year anniversary of our first show doing Sports Fluent Media. So shout out Fluent. We're definitely gonna be giving him more of a shout out on NBA Max on Sunday. But been on override. So definitely glad to be here. But
I was in Cancun a year ago today.
That's right. Yeah,
for my
yeah,
spring break.
yeah.
So
That's right. Yeah, you couldn't make that. But
yeah,
yeah, isn't working so much more than fun than being at school, Matt?
yeah. Snapchat memories are a kick in the nuts every day when you're sitting in a cubicle. So really awesome stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yep. In case the kids are watching, that was sarcasm, by the way. Yeah, Matt has expressed to us multiple times that he doesn't like it, that working is a little worse than having fun in school, but that's okay though. Okay, cool. So so as I mentioned, the Celtics or Bill Simmons of the Ringer just released the first episode of Celtic City, which is a documentary about the history of the Celtics, which tons of people were complaining about why do we need another Celtics documentary? There's already so many. Who really cares about the history of the Celtics? And I, for one, think, who cares? Obviously the three of us are huge Celtics fans. At the very least, we're going to watch it. At the very least, a lot of Celtics fans are going to watch it. And Bill Simmons has a lot of money, so he can afford just to do whatever he wants. He's passionate about the Celtics and about the history of the game. So just why the hell wouldn't you make a documentary about the Celtics just if you're bored? So in other words, the internet's complaining about something that they really shouldn't be again. So who's shocked there? But okay, yeah. So the first episode, it was called "The Founding Fathers." So it's what it sounds like, which is very funny, by the way, because I literally just gave my kids a test on my 8th graders a test on the Founding Fathers. So that's so very fitting there. My 8th grade social studies students. So it's just about the founders of the Celtics and how it was they started in like the late 1950s. Bill Russell, Sam Jones, a ton of talk about Bob Cousy, Mr. Basketball as they called him. So it was. It was very fun to watch. I watched it today after work. I did have to pause it 20 minutes in because I was exhausted. It wasn't because it was boring. I literally had to pause and take a nap and then turn it back on after that. But no, I really enjoyed the first episode. Obviously, I'm biased. And yeah, maybe it is a small target audience, which again is fine. Like I feel like everything today isn't really targeted for like a wide nets unless it's. I don't even know what would please everyone today, but yeah, this is obviously a small targeted audience, but I'm looking forward to watching the rest of the episodes. John, I know that you were able to watch it, I think, the other day. What are your thoughts on it?
I was actually able to watch it this morning, and just a little background for the audience, not to get too into it. I am on medication for everything's okay, a quick little trip to the ER, but it did take me a little bit longer, like you, Chris. It took me a little longer to get through the episode. I had to rewind it a couple times. But I thought it was great. I remember when I fired it up this morning, it was because I couldn't really sleep and I needed something I kind of wanted to watch it, but it's one of those things where you there's so many other shows to watch and sometimes you have to be like in that mood. And the first couple minutes I was like, am I really going to get like fired up for like 50s and like early 60s Celtics basketball right now? Like it's not exactly like we're watching like highlights of like Durant or Garnett and like Pierce. But quickly I changed my mind. They did a really great job with it. I was pretty engaged. They tied in a lot of like kind of like the era of that as well. Like, Bill Russell's talking about how he just won MVP and 4 or 5 straight championships. And then he's going down south to visit his grandfather. And he's getting pulled over by like racist cops. So it's like, it's weird to see that era. Like if Bill Russell was accomplishing what he accomplished in today's game, like, I mean, he'd be getting weighted on hand and foot, but it's cool to see the different eras. And I did notice one thing that stood out to me was that they were, I think somebody, maybe it was a reporter, was interviewing Bill Russell and said, like, you're like the luckiest man on the planet because you get to play with Mr. Basketball. You get to play with Bob Cousy. And Bill Russell had the attitude and the correct attitude, in my opinion, of he gets to play with me. And that was true. Like, I know Bob Cousy was Mr. Basketball. He accomplished a lot, but like, have you seen that jump shot? Like Bill Russell was like they went out and got Bill Russell to put them over the hump. And I just love seeing interviews with Bill Russell. He seems like such a classy guy. He really played the game the right way. And and just seems like a very gracious man. So I really enjoyed it. I liked seeing interviews with some of the older guys that had passed away. I'm happy they were able to incorporate those, especially Tommy Heinsohn. I think they interviewed the Casey Jones's wife and daughters, which was really cool. So yeah, I really, really enjoyed it.
Yeah, like I said before the pod, I unfortunately did not get to watch it before this episode, even though that was our homework. So sorry, AH. Also, just want to take this time to show a little respect to John, who's fighting through a little illness right now.
Thank you.
We do not load manage on the AH podcast, and you're just proving it tonight, and we really appreciate it.
Thank you. It's this is my flu game, even though I do not have the flu. I'm just heavily medicated. So
yeah, I figured I didn't want to be charged with the HIPAA violation. I know that you wouldn't sue me, but I figured someone else would if I brought up your medical history with unprompted.
Well, I was nervous that people were gonna watch and be like, "Why are John's eyes closed?" It's no, but this is a good way to end a tough Thursday.
Absolutely. There's something else I want to say. Definitely 100% agree with everything said. Yeah, I was happy you brought up Tommy Heinsohn. Just always extremely cool because you hear about Bill Russell, his on the court actions, and then he's one of the rare people that you do hear about his off the court actions as well, because he was such a leader in the he was one of the people that organized the March on Washington. He has that famous picture with Muhammad Ali. Not Muhammad Ali. Ali was in that picture, I think. But MLK was the center of it. So just definitely be a very cool history there. One thing I did think was very cool was in a separate interview. Someone said I forgot what the words were. I think it wasn't the aliens come down to invade the earth. It was along the questions aliens come down to invade the earth. Who do you want taking? It's a tie game. Who do you want taking the last shot? He said Sam Jones, no question. So which I know part of that's just him trying to be a good teammate, but I do also think that he genuinely meant that, because Sam Jones, it was known to be that guy. He won 10 of the 11 championships with Bill Russell. He was the leading scorer on a good amount of those teams. So people knock Bill Russell for not being a scorer, even though I think there was one or two finals where he did lead the team in scoring. They made it very clear. Bill was okay, I'll let you guys take all the shots. I'll be the one anchoring the defense. He knows that he wasn't that great of a scorer. Then again, no one really knew how to score back then. So he's okay, I'll be the one just not letting anyone score points, which is exactly what he did. I think it was pretty much again it was 12 out of the 13 years they had the number one defense, and 6 out of those years they had the number one. They're top 12 or whatever in defensive in relative defensive rating. It could be wrong there, but definitely a good amount there. And then he just said, okay, Bob Cousy, Sam Jones. This isn't until later, but John Havlicek, you guys are going to be the ones to score all the points for us. So, and yeah, it's obviously if you threw just a bunch of guys who played in the 60s right now, they wouldn't be as good. But however, just watching that documentary about the history of it, that's obviously something that I'm extremely passionate about, and I'm happy that we'll likely be talking about. Maybe not so much in the playoffs, but definitely be talking about this documentary piece, hopefully weekly.
I was thinking about this while I was watching. How many people do you think would know if you told them, okay, what was the first team to draft a black basketball player in the NBA? I think a good chunk of people who at least know basketball or watch basketball would say the Celtics. Mm-hmm. I think some people would have a misconception that it was Bill Russell, and probably. It wasn't. It was Chuck Cooper, and I think he kind of flies under the radar a little bit just because he was a couple of years prior to. But Chuck Cooper had that good relationship with Cousy to start. So it was really cool to see.
Throw back to when Jay Williams congratulated Ime Udoka on being the first Celtics black coach ever, even though they had five before.
One of them 6 beforehand.
One of them sorry. First of all, one of them being Bill Russell, a player coach. If you really know the history of the game, he played for the NBA. So if you know the NBA, you know that he's a top 5 most famous basketball player ever, probably. If you really look at the history in the NBA, you know he's a top 5 famous person. Then Doc Rivers, who his last year was 2013. He was hired it was less than 10 years later. It was like over 5 years, less than 10 years later. And the fact that he didn't know that. And then after that, he doubled down by saying, sorry, I was hacked.
That was the worst part about it. Like if he just logged on and said, sorry, I kind of had like a brain fart and just like, my bad. Everyone would be like, all right, no worries. Like
that would have worked. And that excuse would have worked in like 2009. It was 2021. You really think that there was any chance that anyone was going to believe that? But I digress.
If he did get hacked, that was a hilarious troll. Just hack tweet something that like is kind of believable that someone would tweet. But anyway, the Celtics had the first black coach in NBA history, and then did it go Doc and then Brad right after?
Yes,
he did, right? Yeah. And then it went. Am I forgetting somebody? It went Brad to Ime, right?
Yeah, Ime.
Yeah.
So it was one coach. There was one white coach in between. Anyway. Yeah. I digress.
For like 5 years. Like it wasn't even like 20 years of Brad.
There were a bunch of other ones though. Yeah, like I definitely should know this, but there were a bunch of others like in like the 70s and not 80s, but yeah. So as long as we don't have anything else there, I think I got everything from that from what we had to say, but yeah, cool. So anyway, speaking of Celtics history, we saw Celtics history being made last night. Absolutely bananas. If you were to tell me, because I knew that last year, Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown scored 45 and 35 points against the against the Timberwolves in an overtime game. It was one of the best. It was definitely the best regular season game probably in the past 2 years. And then this past Friday, Tatum had 46 and Brown had 30, whatever. I don't even know. I think it was probably like 30, was it 31, 33 or whatever? Maybe a little more.
Maybe 37.
Was it 37? Yeah, was that much more? Yeah. So I knew for a fact that these two never scored 40 together, but then I realized, then I thought, I'm like, okay, so what if someone's, scored 40 before? I'm like, okay, so we know that Sam Jones and Bob Cousy could have done it maybe if you want to mix in Bill Russell and John Havlicek. Excuse me, yeah, whoever as well. Then after you want to dig in after that, maybe John Havlicek did it with Dave Cowens and Dave Cowens or JoJo White. Then if you want to go later, maybe Bird did it with Kevin McHale, Rob Parrish, maybe even Danny Ainge or Dennis Johnson if they got hot one nights. But then you realize, okay, maybe not. Then you skip to the 90s. No one definitely did that there. Okay, maybe early 2000s, maybe Paul Pierce and Antoine Walker found a way to do it together. Nope. Fast forward a few years later. Okay, maybe Pierce did it with Garnett, Allen, maybe even Rondo on one night. I know that Rondo scored 41 night in the playoffs. Nope, that never happens. Okay, so a few years later, maybe Isaiah Thomas got hot one night alongside with either Avery Bradley, Marcus Smart, or Jay Crowder. Kidding, not one of those guys who was scoring 40. But then you know that Tatum Brown didn't. Okay. So if you're at a bar one night, they say, okay, you think, okay, so two Celtics players to drop 40 one night. Who are they? Who the hell was it? It was Derek White and Peyton Pritchard. So just unbelievable stuff that we see from this team time and time again. Obviously, I fell victim to the Celtics not being as good this year as they were last year. We just saw historic stuff last year. That this year they're still an amazing team. So much to the point that their first, I guess you could say third and fourth or fifth best players were out yesterday. Their second best player played off. He didn't play awful. He just had a bad shooting night. He was pretty good playmaking, rebounding wise. But so the other starter and your sixth man just okay, we're fine. We're both just gonna go off for 40 tonight. And that was their solution to winning. It's just those two guys going up. It wasn't just have like a good amount of teamwork. They scored 40 points. So I'm just baffled by this. It's insane.
Yeah. The Peyton Pritchard contract it was the end of.
Brad signed the extension. Some are going into last year.
Into last year, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, I was trying to think of it as 2 years ago. And I remember, Peyton, he wanted a bigger role. He kept talking about wanting a bigger role and how he would be like a six man or a starter on a couple teams. And then Brad offered him this deal, and I remember we were cool with it. We were fine with it. We're like, all right, I'm happy he's staying here, but he requested a trade. Does he actually want to be here? And then Brad and Joe trusted him and gave him a bigger role, and he's just blossomed into this like awesome bench piece. He's going to be a crucial piece in the playoffs this year. And like you said, Chris, like KP, I mean, I saw a stat today. Porzingis has been out for 41 games, 41% of his games as a Celtic, which is insane. But Porzingis is probably going to miss a couple games. Knock on wood, but let's say Tatum or Brown go down for a couple games in the playoffs, or Al, something like that. Pritchard can just fill the role of being the lead scorer or being a top 3 scorer of the night. Like you saw last night, he like explodes for 40. I think he had 43, and Derek White had 41. Like, and then again, the Derek White contract also amazing move from Brad to extend him. Like we know you had to pay him, and he did it. And these guys, they just step up when needed, time and time and again. And it's just it's awesome to see.
Yeah, it's one of those things. I think most people, if you don't watch the Celtics on a night-to-night basis, you see Tatum's out for the 2 or 3 games a year that they like convince him to take it, like to sit out. He doesn't like doing that, but they finally convinced him to do it. And most people would say, okay, this is a Jaylen Brown 45-point night kind of night because Tatum's out. But I think the Celtics are so spread so evenly across the board that it's not really a zero sum. Okay, this guy's out, so this guy's going to score. I think it just opens up a lot of avenues for whoever's hot to continue to score. And you saw it last night. I think Derek White almost benefits the most with Tatum being out. I think it's just how everything kind of flows through him. He's always making the right plays, and especially this year with Jaylen Brown, he's not really. Sometimes he still does, but he's not really forcing stuff. So he's kind of feeding the hot hand in White and Pritchard. So it makes you feel good, especially like you mentioned, Kristaps Porzingis when he is playing, when he's healthy, he's just unbelievably valuable to the Celtics team. But as we've seen, it's not really a certainty that he's always going to be healthy. So it's just nice knowing that they do have depth at multiple positions that can kind of carry the load. And you're actually seeing tonight, it's, believe it or not, it's better when Jason Tatum plays than when he doesn't, because he has 18, I think, in like 15 minutes already tonight. So just a very, very fun team to watch. And I think they're on pace for like 59 wins, which would be 5 less than last year, but still pushing the 60 win mark if they get a little hot down the stretch here.
Yeah, John, before you go, Chris, I just want to extend on one of the points you made about if one of the big guys is out in Porzingis or Brown or Tatum, somebody will step up, but it's not like, all right, Peyton, you're gonna be the leading scorer tonight. It kind of just like flows. And that's, I think that's a huge credit to Joe, that his system works around, obviously top 5, top 15, whatever you want to call it, Jaylen Brown, top 5, top 10 players in the league. But it also works with the Derek Whites and the Peyton Pritchards and the bench guys. And Peyton Pritchard said it in his presser last night that they're like, oh, why didn't you try to break the single game franchise record for the Celtics? I think he was 1 or 2 away or something like that. And he's like, if that came naturally, I would have loved to have broken it, but that's not what we're trying to do. We're trying to just win games here. And if I have to take a couple more threes, I'll do that. But if I have to pass up a couple more, I'll do that as well. So just the guys are so bought in, and it's really awesome to see. I'm not going to point fingers, but one of us on this podcast was freaking out after a month of bad basketball.
Like, I did it this episode. Like, it's not like I'm saying like don't do it anymore because I said it last week. I literally did it this episode.
I was kidding.
2 minutes ago.
And just to sprinkle a little bit more Celtics to this podcast, Torrey Craig has 10 points in under 10 minutes, and Baylor Shireman has a quick 8 points off the bench tonight.
Nice.
Okay.
So, nice.
Joe's just really getting everyone involved. I think he's seems like he's played 9 guys so far. So
all right.
It's always nice when you get to play a G League team like the Sixers. You get to try a couple different things.
So I'm going to reference two. Yeah, I'm going to reference 2 podcasts now. So one of them being Numbers on the Board. I'll do that very quickly. They did an episode recently on grading guys' young cores. So, of course, the Celtics' young core is Shireman, Davison, and who am I missing? Is it
Peterson?
Peterson? Is there someone else? I feel like there is. I could be wrong. Maybe not.
Jordan Walsh.
Jordan Walsh, yeah. So maybe they didn't mention Peterson, but yeah, definitely the first 3. Yeah, they rated them at a D plus, which they don't play a lot, so I understand why you want to put it there. But I genuinely think that if they got more minutes on another team, they could have the potential to be better. I mean, Davison did literally win on G League MVP last year, so
Did they include Jalen Brunson in the Knicks young core?
I actually didn't listen to the full episode, so maybe they did. But the other episode, I don't know if you listened to it, Matt. Bill Simmons and Ryan Russillo, which we mentioned Bill Simmons a lot this episode, but very happy that he and Russillo are back on Sunday nights because he and cousin Sal on Sunday nights during football season isn't fun. I respect Bill Simmons more than it. Maybe it's because I don't like football, but I don't enjoy listening to Bill Simmons talk about football. I don't. No, I do like football.
I definitely like Simmons and Russillo talking NBA better than cousin Sal and Simmons, but yes. I do like cousin Sal. I do like guest lines and everything like that.
All right, like it's understandable. Again, like I'm not a huge football guy, so so maybe that's why. But they were, but like I don't know if you saw this. You maybe even saw this on Twitter before listening to the episode. Like they're very, very high on the Cavs, and so am I. I think that I think that both teams fully healthy. I think the Cavs really could push it to 6-7 games. But they seem to think that the Cavs would be the favorite in that series, and I don't think they would be. Because their thought process was, even though KP and Drew were out on Friday, when Tatum scores 46 and Brown scores 30, whatever, I think one of you just at 37, and they lose the game, that should be an automatic win when that happens, but it just didn't happen. But again, my counterpoint to that would be they started off very hot, 25-3, and then they just choked the game away, which every team is prone to do, not just the Celtics. So I love Donovan Mitchell more than anyone. If the season were to end today, I probably would vote him to be on my all NBA first team. Can he be the best player in a championship team? Maybe. We're living in a world now where I think earlier, like mid-late 2010s, I think it was very clear that you needed to have a top five player. Like I'm not even gonna say top 5, top 10. I think you need to have a top 5 player on your team. I still think that's kind of the case today. I think you do need to have at the very worst, a top 5, top 10 player. I know I said it was overreactionary, which it still is, but you can make the argument that Donovan Mitchell in the past 2 months has been playing like a top 10 player, and I think he's someone that's risen to the occasion before. He played great in the playoffs last year before he got injured. Didn't play great against the Knicks, but every time the Jazz played in the playoffs, what was it? I know it was the bubble, and like a couple of those stats are inflated. But he dropped 57 in the bubble, and I think because he has like such the great cast around him, like he has Darius Garland who can like do like the playmaking while Mitchell does like a lot of the other playmaking and scoring. He can do a little bit of both, and then they have the defensive anchor and Mobley and Allen, and now DeAndre Hunter as well, and a bench that's like much better than I thought it was. Ty Jerome is probably the only person that can compete with Payton for 6th man of the year. Max Strus, who does is it Max Strus the one that their other starter? Or is it Dean Wade? It's one of those two, but yeah, just like a bunch of really good guys, and like they don't have that star player. Like they don't have a Jason Tatum, they don't have a Giannis, they don't have a Jokic or even a LeBron at this point. But I think the Thunder are the biggest threat to the Celtics for who can beat us. I think the Cavs are very, 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 very close second.
I wouldn't say they're very, very close second. I would say the Thunder are definitely on a tier above the Cavs. I think you absolutely need a top 5 player in the league to win a title. I was just going through it in my head. So Tatum last year, top 5 player in the league. 2023, Jokic, obviously top 5 player in the league, top 1. 2022, Steph. You would consider Steph top 5 in the league at that point, correct? In 2022?
Not in the regular season, but yeah, like as far as guys you can trust in the playoffs, yeah, absolutely.
Right, and then 2021, Giannis was top 5. 2020, LeBron and AD were probably both top 5. Mm-hmm. 2019, Kawhi was top 5. Like, I think you absolutely need, and then obviously KD, Steph, and LeBron, like obviously both were top 5. Like, I don't know the last championship where a team won that they didn't have a top 5 guy in the league. Was it
Dirk?
Was Dirk top 5 in 2011?
I don't think so.
I
That's what I'm
don't
saying.
know.
I think that's the
Like
last.
I don't know. Like maybe.
And that was like an anomaly. That was like
Yeah, people talk about that.
The ones that are arguments are Durkin. So Durkin 2011. I think that Garnett was top 5 in 2008, but like people can say like his lack of an offensive is like an offensive game could keep him out of there. Maybe the Heat in 2006. I don't think D Wade was top 5, but he was definitely top 10. And then the Pistons, obviously, they didn't have any top 10 players. That's an anomaly as well. So,
So Chris, you mentioned 2008. I mean, obviously 2011 is kind of an anomaly. 2008, Garnett's not a top 5 player, but where was Pierce in 2008? He was top 15, right?
yes.
Top 10? You think he
Yes.
was top 10?
I don't think top 10. Definitely. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the Cavs, I don't think have a top 15 guy. You know what I mean? And Ray Allen was top 20 guy. I don't think is Garland top 20.
I think Mobley's top 20. I think that Garland is top 25. Might be pushing it, although he has been extremely productive and efficient on offense this year.
Yeah, he has been.
Top 25 might be pushing it, but but I'll listen to it. So
Garnett was All NBA first team 2008.
He finished third in MVP voting, but I'm wondering if that has more to do so with just their amount of wins. We talked about this on NBA Max the other day, where like the voting has kind of changed to where like it was very win centric back then, but however right now it is a little more individual play. So I do think Garnett was top 5, but like I do know that some people would disagree with that.
Yeah, so I mean, look at the examples we're coming up with. It's 2011, which was 14 years ago, and then 2008, and 2004. Like, I definitely think you need a top 5 guy. I think SGA is a top 5 guy. I think Tatum's a top 5 guy. So I do think the Cavs are a really good team. You mentioned Dean Wade. He's clamps. He's an unbelievable defender. There's a clip on Twitter against the Celtics. There's like 3 minutes of him guarding Jaylen Brown, and I know Jaylen Brown went off, but like the possessions he was guarding him, he did a great job on him.
Absolutely.
They're a very deep team. I know we were kind of like, best bench in the league. Like I don't know about that, but I mean they're definitely in the conversation to have the best bench in the league. And
I think they're the best bench in the league.
Yeah, it's definitely up there. I mean, but I think the Thunder are just a tier above them, and I think just a big reason of that is because of SGA. But the Thunder depth's also very underrated as well, and I don't know. I think the Thunder are a bigger threat.
I just think it's interesting how so the 3 contenders all have very they all have a star. So Tatum's top 5. We think top 3. Jay is, some people think top 2. Definitely top 5. Like depending on what you value. Like I value a bit more of a track record, so I'm not ready to say he's objectively top 3 yet. Mitchell, I'm going to say top 12. Like I know people would say that's too high, but like I definitely I'm going to say that's on my lowest actually. And then after that, the next best team I think would be the Nuggets. They don't have a great bench. They have a star player. After that would be the Lakers. They have 2 solidified top 10 players. Luka, when healthy, is top 5. LeBron when healthy in a big game. I still don't know if there's more than 5 players that I want in a big game more than LeBron. And after that, the best teams after that are the Grizzlies, who have a deep team. It's the Rockets, who have a deep team. It's the Knicks, don't have a deep team, but they do have like one of the probably like the 5 best duos in the league, I would say. I know we're throwing a lot of holy crap. This is a Bill Simmons episode where we keep on saying like top 5 or whatever.
Simmons doesn't do top 5. He does like top 4, top 7. He never does
exactly.
top 5.
Yeah. He was feeding into the bit the other day where he said the Mavs were top 7 fan base. How the hell do you know that? How the hell do you know that? Yeah. So, yeah, but I'm interested
on the Cavs. Like, there are 2 wins against the Celtics. One time the Celtics were missing Jaylen Brown, and this past time they were missing KP and Drew.
It's a valid argument, but just the Cavs have just been, like I'm more so looking at it in the sense of how they've just been like both them and the Thunder have just been like and I said it. I don't think I mentioned this, but it's something that I've thought about saying multiple times on the pod. This is 2016. This season, you have 3 historic teams. You have except in 2016 it was like 4 historic teams. 2016 you had Warriors who won 73 games, you had the Spurs who won 67 games, and then the Thunder who won. Did they win? They won over 60 for sure. And then you had they had like 3 historic regular seasons. Then you had the Cavs on the other side of the conference who weren't great in the regular season, but they at the end of the day they were filthy in the playoffs, and then they found a way to beat the 73-win Warriors. So like really 4 historic teams there. We have 3 historic teams right now, because even if you stop comparing it to last year's team, like they still have one of the best net ratings in the league. They have one of the best net ratings of all time. They also have the first or second best road net rating, which is insane. So, yeah, all 3 of these teams have been historically good, even if the Celtics are 8 games behind the Cavs. So like that's another thing is that 8 games is a lot, whether you want to take the regular season seriously or not. But I'm just hoping that there's not a 4th team involved that's gonna like unseat those regular season teams, especially when the biggest threat to that is probably LeBron and the Lakers. So,
I want to touch on them later. The Lakers.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. We'll talk about them when we get to the playoff race. But first, let's talk about the Mavs. I've never felt so defeated about I was like so like ready about like I was like so locked in and ready about the Mavs being a first round exit this year. I'm like they're not gonna be good. They're gonna be awful on defense. They have concerns about health. They're not gonna be a cakewalk to the conference finals like people were saying. They started off slow. I took my victory out too early. Then they went on a hot stretch. They're like the 4th or 5th seed. I'm like, oh crap, Luka's gonna up his game in the playoffs. He gets injured for a little bit. I'm like, okay, so let's see what's gonna happen. Then I said, okay, this is unfortunate just because I'm not necessarily gonna be proven right because he just got injured and then he gets traded. So I'm someone that likes to be right with my takes. I'm not above that, but just the fact that the Mavs have been I said the Mavs are going to be first round exits, and they're going to be at the very least a first round exit, if not miss the playoffs altogether. And it's not going to be for all the reasons that I said. So that's quite unfortunate. But to touch on I feel bad for making light of the situation, but Kyrie out for the season, which is super unfortunate just because Kyrie has redeemed himself big time since being traded to Dallas. Obviously the Celtics didn't work out, got traded to Brooklyn. Everything went wrong there with him. So a lot of it was to his own doing. But then he gets traded to Dallas, and I don't know if it was Luka, if it was Jason Kidd, if it was Mark Cuban or if it was a little bit of everyone who just kind of sat down with him and said, hey, listen, here's how we do things here, and everything. And he just seemed to fall in line. And this was probably his best regular season that he's had. If you're factoring in everything, like drama aside, definitely his best season, I would say, since 2018 with the Celtics, which ironically again ended in a season-ending injury. So, I'm someone who we've been super critical of Kyrie on the show, but we've all agreed he's one of the most fun players in the league to watch. Like when he's fully in there and playing. So bad for the Mavericks, and even worse for the NBA, I think.
Yeah. The Mavs, what franchise is in a worse spot right now than the Mavs? The Suns, maybe?
Suns, maybe the Sixers. Yeah, one of those two.
Maybe the Sixers. I mean,
one of those 3, I would say. Yeah.
The Sixers still have Maxey. McCain looks like he's going to be a stud in this league. They still have a couple of guys where they could be okay, we can build on this right now. We have some view of the future. The Mavs had that. They had a top 5 player in the league, and then they just shipped him off for some reason. You're mentioning, Kyrie, obviously got hurt, Chris. Kyrie Irving hasn't played over 60 games since his last season with the Celtics.
He played over 60 games last year? Wow.
He played 58 last year.
Oh, that's insane.
I mean, and then AD is always hurt. He's probably going to be shut down for the rest of the year because of this. They've traded away a lot of their picks. I mean, they only got 1 for the Luka trade, and I was trying to find what picks they had. I mean, they have their own pick this year. They have their own pick next year. They don't have one in 2027. They have one in 2028, but the Thunder get to swap with them. They have one in 2029 and 2030. They don't have one. They have one this year and next year. They don't have one for 2027. And they straight away Quentin Grimes too had a great night the other night. they're old and they have no future, and all their guys are injury prone, and like they stink right now. They stink.
You should have a boatload of draft picks. Like the draft picks that you listed off like may seem like a lot, but
It's not. Yeah.
no, because you list off like 4 or 5 picks, which people always say like, okay, that's not that bad. But no, it is bad when you just traded away your franchise player and you just have no future. You just have like no view of the future ahead.
It's crazy to me that they only got 1 pick for Luka, but going into this year and after the end of last year, I was almost excited that the Celtics kind of had like I thought that the Mavericks were going to build a little more around Luka, and then this could kind of turn into a Celtics rivalry of this era. Tatum and Luka going back and forth, and then Brown going up against another star in that sense. I thought that would have been really, really cool. Because I hated the Mavs. I prayed on their downfall. I almost prayed for this specifically to happen, but now it's kind of just sad. It doesn't seem as fun. The only really thing that makes me happy about this is Klay Thompson is rotting away there. That makes me so happy. But other than that, it's the end of a very short rivalry that the Celtics kind of dominated. But it's malpractice what the Dallas Mavericks front office did. It's Adam Silver 100% should have stepped in for that Luka trade to get 1 draft pick, and an aging, injury-prone Anthony Davis is just blasphemy. And we'll talk about it, ad nauseum for years to come because it's outrageous. You don't like his defense? Fine, then ship him off in the offseason after the finals for 20 first-round picks or for Giannis or for somebody, because you could have gotten so much more than what you got. You just handed him to LeBron James and the Lakers.
Yeah, it would be. This situation would be hilarious if Luka wasn't traded to the Lakers. It'd be so awesome. Now it's just like, all right, the Lakers are contenders again. So,
and like you guys mentioned, we used to hate Kyrie, but now we've kind of moved on and kind of just appreciate how he plays, and he was playing great. Very unproblematic off the court, kind of just hooping again, and it's sad. And the scary and the sad part about it is that he's 32 and he relies on his lateral quickness. Will we see him ever get back to that level again? I don't know.
I know that he did say early in his career that he thinks he's going to retire young. I don't think he's going to retire after this. I hope not, at least. But for years it was I enjoyed watching the Sixers and the Heats. That's not fun anymore. And I enjoyed watching the Lakers, which will continue to be fun if they start losing again. But however, they're going to be good for the next 10 years now if Luka decides to stay for all this time. Which stinks. But it's I don't want to say it stinks completely, just because the Celtics are always gonna if they decide to, which they have already decided, but if Tatum decides to stick around for all these years, they're gonna be a great team. So they're always gonna have a rival no matter what. It might as well be the historically great Lakers. So I guess it's not the worst thing. I guess it's not the completely worst thing in the world, but I would rather it be someone else probably. Even if the league would rather it be the Lakers based on money, but. As I mentioned in the show, I really don't care about how much money the league makes. It's they're gonna be here no matter what. All right. Anyway, so now we'll talk about the playoff race. So we'll start off with the East. We really don't have a lot to talk about in the East, given that for the most part things seem to be set. Not fully set, but definitely comfortably set. So the Cavs are 8 up on the Celtics. The Celtics for the 1 seed. So that's all but clinched probably. The Celtics are 3.5 games up on the Knicks, hopefully 4 after tonight. I don't know if the Knicks are playing or not. But are they, Matt? Do you know?
They are playing the Lakers tonight at 10.
Oh, they are. Okay. I guess we're rooting for the Lakers. I don't know. But yeah. So 3.5 up in the Knicks. But for second, then there's a big dip after that. The Bucks are half a game up on the Pacers for the 4th seed, and then after that, the Pacers are up a game and a half on the Pistons for the 5th seed, and then the Pistons. I didn't write this down, but the Pistons are up enough for the 6th seed to where it seems like they're not really worried about having to play in the playing tournament. So, Matt, any big takeaways on on any of these so far?
With the East, I mean, you said it. It's kind of like the 1 through 3 is definitely set. I wonder if the Pistons jump the Pacers. the Bucks are only half a game up on the Pacers too. So 4 through 6, that's going to be pretty interesting. I mean, I do think that. I mean, are the Bucks clearly the fourth best team in the East, Chris? Do you think so?
No.
You don't think so?
No.
Who do you think it is? Pistons?
You said clearly. I think they are the fourth best team, but definitely not clearly. Yeah,
not clearly.
Yeah.
I think with injury and everything like that, like injury concerns and stuff like that, I think the Pistons could jump up all the way to the 4 seed.
They absolutely could.
They play hard every night. They beat the Celtics ass the other night. Like they just like outwilled them. Malik Beasley. There was a stat on Twitter the other day. Malik Beasley, he's taken like 528 catch and shoot threes this year, and he's shooting like 37% or something like that.
Wow.
That's insane. Like they're built pretty well. They're pretty good defensively, but they play hard, and that's that matters a lot in the regular season. I don't know how well their game will translate to the playoffs, but nothing really to take away top 3, but just 4 through 6 could get interesting with home court advantage and stuff like that, and then also the play-in could get a little interesting as well.
It's important for the Celtics to lock up that 2 seed.
Yeah.
I know they have a 3.5 game lead right now, but it's important to solidify that because 7 through 10, you got to consider with the play-in. Any of those 4 teams could be who you pull as the 2 seed. So like Heat, Magic, Hawks, Bulls, I think the Celtics should be pretty comfortable taking care of business there. But if you fall down to the 3 seed, you have a potential to have to play the Bucks, the Pacers, or the Pistons in round 1, and that's not really something you want to do. I think the Celtics should be confident in beating all of those teams I mentioned, but it's valuable, and you saw it last year. If you can you take care of your business in round 1 and 5, or even 4 versus 6 or 7, then they've kind of played with their food a lot in the past, aside from last year. And you kind of saw what happens when you don't. You kind of just take care of business. You're a lot more rested. It's a lot less stress on your body. So it's important to lock up that 2 seed.
Absolutely. Matt, you brought up the Bucks about being clearly the fourth best team, which maybe they are. They have to play the Cavs once. They have to play the Thunder once, the Knicks once, the Lakers twice, the Nuggets once, the Pacers 2 times. So, and then they also, and then the easier opponents, they do play the Wizards, the Hornets, the Bulls, the Spurs, the Blazers, and the Magic. So that's easy enough, but they do have the 4th hardest schedule remaining, though the hardest in the East. Goes the Suns, then the Lakers, then the Kings, then the Bucks. Nuggets 5th. That's an interesting one. The Lakers and the Nuggets are an interesting one because the Grizzlies are actually, do we want to? Are we good with these? By the way, yeah, because after that, it looks like because the Celtics have the second easy schedule, so they should have zero problem. They should like I'm saying it would be an indictment if they didn't. I'm not jinxing anything, but like they should have zero problem put in this way. They're playing the Wizards once, the Hornets twice, the Jazz twice, Nets twice, but then again they're not even taking, so who knows? But the Sixers tonight looks like hopefully, yeah, I doubt. Hopefully they don't choke away this game, and then the Spurs later. So the harder games they play the Thunder once, Knicks once, Lakers once, Grizzlies once, Kings once. The Celtics should and then the Knicks have a much harder schedule. So again, should, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of should be able to. Celtics should be able to run away with the 2 seed, but we'll see. You guys good to move on to the West?
Yeah.
Cool. All right. So I did mention that so I'll read off the ones that I sent to you guys. So the Lakers and the Nuggets are currently tied for second. The Grizzlies are 1, the Rockets are 4th. The Wolves and the Warriors are tied for 6th and 7th. They are 1 game up on the Clippers. And the Clippers are half a game up on the Kings for the 8th seed. And then the Kings are up 1 game on the Mavs for the 9th seed. John, any takeaways for anything from the West?
I think we talked about it a couple of weeks ago when Orb was on. This was shortly after the Mavs traded Luka to the Lakers. And we kind of posed the question, who's the biggest threat in the West after the Thunder? And I said, is it crazy to say the Lakers? And I think we all said, no, it's not that crazy. And now I think it's pretty solidified that the second biggest threat in the West is the Lakers. And that's not saying that, the Nuggets or the Grizzlies can't. I think now you're seeing Jaren Jackson Jr. is going to be out for a significant amount of time. They might drop down a little bit. The Rockets, I still think, are way too young. I think the Lakers have the best shot at knocking off the Thunder. But again, you never know. Jokic does seem to have quite a bit of success against the Lakers in the playoffs. So it'll be interesting to see. But I think the Lakers should be. I would pick the Lakers to kind of solidify that number 2 slot. But at the end of the day, I think I kind of wish, because I'm trying to envision the playoff bracket right now. I kind of wish one was 2 and one was 4, because then they would be on opposite sides, right? Or I'm trying to see how they would play each other before playing the Thunder, right?
If they're the 2 and the 3.
Then they would have to play each other before the Thunder?
Yeah, because the one would play the 4 or 5.
Okay, yeah. So then maybe it would be cool if it was 2 or 3, because seeing who would win out of that to face the Thunder would be cool, because I think it would be less exciting if the Thunder just got to play, or if these two teams didn't get to play each other before the Thunder.
All right, speaking of the Lakers, Chris and John, what is your level of concern that they will win the finals? 1 to 10. 10, they're going to win it. 1, no shot. 0 to 10. 0 to 10.
0.
0. You don't think any shot?
The Celtics are going to win the finals.
I think the Celtics too. But if the Celtics don't win, all right, what 1 to 10, they come out of the West. What do you guys think?
Okay, that's a good question.
Yeah, I would say that's 4. Actually, yeah, 4 is a little too high for winning the finals. I would say 4 for coming out of the West.
I think it's such a small sample size to be like, oh, their defense actually isn't that bad with Luka. Like in the playoffs are different. Like in a 7-game series, teams are going to hunt Luka.
Mm-hmm.
They are not, and when LeBron decides when he wants to play defense, yeah, I get it. He's still a good defender, but they are not going to be a good defensive team in the playoffs. Like that's not going to be their identity, right? Their identity is scoring a lot of points. At least that's what I'm seeing from now. But
the thing is, the West also, John, not even like hunting Luka. The West is very skilled at the big man position, and right now it's looking like it's fine, but it's different in the playoffs. You got the Rockets have Sengun, even Steven Adams. The Timberwolves, I mean, they're not really in it right now, but the Timberwolves, that would probably be a first-round matchup for them. They got Naz Reid, they got Gobert. I mean, who else? The Thunder have Hartenstein and Chet if he stays healthy. The Grizzlies have Jaren Jackson Jr. and the trolley problem, Santi Aldama, Loyola legend, who, by the way, Loyola is only down 2 with a minute 30 to go in the Patriot League semifinals right now. But I'm concerned about the Lakers. They're playing really well together, but I don't know how this will last. I don't see it. I think there's too many question marks with them.
Well, okay, let's see. What date did he get traded? What was it? It
was a Sunday. It was a Saturday. I think it was.
It was February 1st.
February 1st.
February 2nd. Yeah, February 2nd was after midnight.
Technically February 2nd. Yeah.
So when did he make his debut? That was the 8th.
I don't know.
Something like that. It was the Hornets visit, or it was one of those games. I don't know which one it was.
But he played the Jazz. They played the Jazz.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm trying to see. Yeah. Okay. So played the first back-to-back of the Jazz, not back-to-back, but they played them 2 games in a row. So even let's go back from that. Like they gave up 115 to the Pelicans, then 102 to the Clippers, pretty good. 102 back-to-back. So their defense has been pretty good recently, but they're not really playing high-powered offenses. I know James Harden had like 50 the other night.
That's right.
But like you see, their identity is their offense.
They're scoring a lot.
Like they have to, right? And I don't think that them only surrendering 102 to the Timberwolves is all that impressive to me. I don't know. It's maybe I'm wrong, but I think their lack of defense, and there's nothing really they could do, but their lack of defense is going to come back and bite them in the ass.
And that's fair.
It is fair. And yeah, And yeah, like I'll gladly stick my hand up and say I was wrong about JJ Redick. Yeah, like I was very hesitant on how good he'd be. He's been great so far. But I also think that's we'll see how this translates. Again, it's a matter of yeah, like, and I know it's unfair. Like that, like a lot of it is this translates in the playoffs because and that definitely does also apply to coaching. So it definitely doesn't just apply to players. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, but I don't. Yeah, like I don't really know how it's going to work. Yeah, how everything's going to work because as of now they would be playing. Like let's just look at who they'd be playing. They'd be playing. It looks like the seventh, whoever the seventh seed is. The
Looks like Timberwolves, Clippers, Kings, Mavs.
Timberwolves. Yeah, so depending. Yeah, so they're playing the Timberwolves. So
That'd be a tough matchup for them, just like matchup wise.
matchup wise would be. Let's.
Oh,
I'm trying to think of who would guard who. Like yeah, who guards Ants? I don't even know. Would it be
Rui
would it be Reeves?
Hachimura?
I think it'd be Reeves. Like it's
Ant's playing hard too. He needs that money, that child support.
True.
No, because like yeah, like people like this is another thing I don't see sustainable. Like yeah, like Austin Reeves like clamping up like Jamal Murray and like a couple other things. Like it's a very cool thing to see if you're not a Lakers hater because I hate seeing this. Like I'll be honest, like because like you know what, like I hate these NBA creators who's which like maybe they're actual better people than me and not putting on a show. Like no, I'm man up to admit I hate watching the Lakers succeed. I hate this team so much. They're my least favorite team. I don't like Luka Doncic and LeBron James has beaten my teams too much to where I can root for him. So like no, I don't enjoy seeing this. But like it's yes, maybe if you have an objective mindset, maybe you think it's cool watching Austin Reeves clamp him up, but is it sustainable? I don't know. So that's another thing we'll have to wait.
No, he's bad. He's a bad defender.
He's a bad defender.
No, it's not that he's not good. Austin Reeves is a bad defender,
and they're just gonna pump out a video of them clamping up Jamal Murray, who like decides when he wants to play well.
I do think they have some pretty good wing defenders. Like Dorian Finney-Smith is a good defender. Vanderbilt's a good defender. Rui Hachimura is a pretty solid defender. But Austin Reeves is a bad defender. Like
Matt, I'll let you get away with the last week. Rui Hachimura is a defender. He's not a good defender. Like
you don't think so? I thought he was solid.
Bad. No, I don't think so. He was considered to be bad.
Oh, I thought it's like general consensus. I mean, like what I've seen, I don't really lock in on Rui Hachimura during Lakers defensive possessions, if I'm being honest. But I thought he was just like a solid defender and a good 3-point shooter. That's what I mean. It could just be Lakers Twitter as well, just propping up.
I know defensive rating is an overplayed stat, but his defensive rating is like 116.
It's
all right. Hand up. My fault.
And like
Austin Reeves is. Let's be defensive rating merchants on this podcast. 124. All right.
Really? Wow, it's that bad? Yeah, I hate defensive ratings. So yes, so I'm a much more defensive
agenda, Chris.
I'm a much more defensive LeBron guy than defensive ratings. So it's but there's one more thing. Yeah, like I'm done talking about the Lakers though because I'm either gonna get irritated by the narratives or I'm gonna get irritated by them being actually good. So it is a little annoying. But
okay, another question for you, Chris.
Yes.
If the Thunder or the Lakers don't win the West, who is?
Nuggets.
Nuggets? Okay. I think that's fair. I think those are the top three.
It's tough because like I've seen like some people say like I don't know if it was Simmons or someone else. Maybe it was a guy like I listened to a basketball podcast. It was one of those two actually, but they said like the players around the league don't really respect the Thunder, even though the Thunder dominate the league. So I don't know how the players can't respect them. But like it doesn't really matter. They don't respect them. If they beat them, they beat them. It's kind of like how similar to the Celtics. People didn't really respect the Celtics last year, but they beat the crap out of everyone. I think it is one of those three teams. I don't trust the Rockets at all. I don't trust the I probably trust the Grizzlies. I definitely trust the Grizzlies more than them. And after that, if we go even further, like I'd probably trust the Timberwolves more than I trust the Rockets actually, because at least they have like a bucket getter that could do that. The Rockets don't. The Rockets have been playing bad basketball since the All-Star break, so you trust the Timberwolves more.
I was going to say the Nuggets are definitely the third team if the Lakers are, but like I think before Jaren Jackson Jr. got hurt, it was a lot closer between them and the Grizzlies.
I agree.
Yeah, the Grizzlies are very underrated. I mean, they kicked the crap out of the Celtics too a couple weeks ago, but
They play good defense.
yeah, they play hard.
Even though Jaren Jackson Jr. is one of my favorite players, he averages 5 rebounds a game, which is just preposterous.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Well, yeah, like I think he's just like he's not.
He's like
he's not the Rudy. Yeah. Well,
but you would still
he's
assume a stretch forward. The problem is, and again, I don't want to like shit all over him, but like if you're a stretch forward, like you have to be able to like shoot the ball well. And I still think stretch forward should be pulling down like 7 or 8 rebounds at the least.
Like Santi Aldama, 7 boards a game.
Like you think Al Horford in his prime, he's pulling down closer to 8 or 9 per game.
Mm-hmm.
Well, just tied it. They're going into OT.
Saints Ryder kicked the crap out of someone tonight. I don't even know why.
And the one team we haven't talked about yet in between, sandwiched in between. What was that?
Ryder beat Canisius tonight. I saw the
Canisius. Wow. Okay.
I was like 78-50. Nice. And I looked up Canisius 3-27 this year.
They're sneaky though. They're good. They're a good 3-27.
How do you even get on the bus when your team's like that? You put in so much time.
All right, sorry, Chris, we cut you off talking about Canisius. Next year's their year.
Talking about mediocre MAC basketball.
Last team up, the Golden State Warriors. They've won. I guess only 2 in a row. They've won 8 of the last 10. They've looked like a completely different basketball. Okay. Oh wow, you guys have a different opinion than me. I trust the Warriors significantly more than I trust the Timberwolves and the Grizzlies. Not even close. Because like even though it's like one of those things where like the roster is worse than both of them, but at the end of the day, you have Steph Curry, Jimmy Butler, and Draymond Green. I think that I know we don't like the last.
Who invited Draymond Green to that conversation?
Who invited Jimmy Butler? The guy's averaging like 16 points a game on the Warriors.
The vibe shifts though.
I saw like a tweet like the Warriors were just like, oh, I really wish like we didn't. They're starting to call him Cardio Jimmy. I'm like, that's what he does. He'll have games where he takes like 5 shots a game. That's not what like stars do.
Well, John, they got Steph Curry, Draymond Green, Jimmy Butler, and Pat Spencer, right, Chris? Don't forget about him.
Episode 61, right? Oh, was it 61? Right? I think it was 61 or 62. Yeah, it was one of those. 61, right? Yeah. No, but you told me that you trust the Rockets more than the Warriors in the playoff series, though.
No, the Warriors have before John puts his hater cap on. I don't know if that was the painkiller talking or he's actually falling asleep on the Warriors, but I think they're more pretenders. I mean, good win against the Knicks. I know we do poo-poo on the Knicks a little bit on this podcast, but they are a good team. To do it on the road is impressive too, but I don't think in a 7-game series, I just think there are at least 3 teams in the West that I would take over the Warriors, maybe 4.
Let's go.
I think it's only those 3 teams.
9 games. Let's go through their last 9 games. They lost to the Luka-less Mavericks. They beat the Rockets. They beat the Kings.
Okay.
They got their lick back against the Luka-less Mavericks. They beat the powerhouse Hornets. They beat the underperforming Magic. They beat the G League Sixers. They beat the shit out of the Hornets again. And then they beat the Knicks. And now they're losing to the Nets by 4. What is there? 2 impressive teams there?
Okay, hands up. Hands up. Yeah, like I actually didn't know that their schedule was that easy, but
I didn't know that either until I looked it up. I was like, great, I get to use this.
Yeah. Yeah, they're right smack dab in the middle.
The Delaware Blue Coats are pretty solid this year, John.
The hell's that?
The Sixers G League.
G League. Okay. So yeah, they're smack dab in the middle. They're 16th easy schedule remaining. So what was the hardest comparative between them? Yeah, the Clippers have a harder schedule. They're 7th. Yeah, so that's really tough. The Kings have a slightly what the hell are they? Yeah, the Kings have the hardest schedule. So yeah. There might be enough games left for them to climb up to the 4, the 5 seed, but But yeah, I think there's a world where they climb to the 5 seed, and then there's not a world where they can beat the Thunder. I don't think.
You think they win a playoff series?
Yes. If they run into the Grizzlies or the Rockets, I'm very confident they would beat the Grizzlies or the Rockets. They don't have offense. Either of them, yeah.
I would agree with that. I would agree with that.
Yeah, that's the toughest thing there. I know that some Warriors fans were saying that they could compete with the Lakers, which if they had one of LeBron or Luka, that'd be the chance. You'd have to have like one of your you probably have to have Draymond guarding LeBron, and then I guess Jimmy guarding Luka, which I'm sorry, Jimmy wouldn't guard Luka. Jimmy doesn't guard the other team's best players, despite what people think. So
the Lakers are deeper than the Warriors as well.
Yes, 100%.
I think their stars are better and they're deeper.
Yeah, for sure.
So I don't even think that would be a good series.
I think it's just a matter of I guess their third best players. No, their third best players isn't better. Definitely better than Draymond at this point. Even say playoff wise, you trust Draymond more, but coming from someone who defends, not like Sherman, defends Draymond more than anyone, because I do think that he's still undervalued. But he's not someone who I would want as my third option anymore.
I didn't have my license the last time Draymond Green averaged 10 points in a regular season. No, that's not what he does, but I legally could not drive a car alone the last time Draymond Green averaged 10 points.
Was that 2016 or 17?
2017.
2017? Okay, yes.
My sophomore year of high school, he averaged 10.8.
Oh, so that was my freshman year in college. So so cool. All right. I think that is it. I did want to share one more thing, but it doesn't look like it's happening. We did do a draft on which you guys didn't participate. I sent this in the group chat the other day, but we did a draft the other night on NBA Max. I'm only going to read off. I wanted to share my screen, but I can't. So I can send it to you. I can both send it to you, and I can also just read it out loud to you. But yeah, I'll send it to you, and then I'll also share it with you later. But which team? I'm going to read off the starting five for these 4 teams. We got team 1. We got team 1, a starting 5 of, looks like it's going to be Damian Lillard, Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, Pascal Siakam, and Giannis. Team 2, we got Kyrie Irving at the point, Derek White at the 2, it looks like, Jeremy Grant at the 3, LeBron at the 4, Rudy Gobert at the 5. Team 3, we have Drew Holiday at the 1, Jimmy Butler at the 2, Andrew Wiggins at the 3, Anthony Davis at the 4, Nikola Jokic at the 5. And then team 5, it looks like it's Curry at the 1, Norm Powell at the 2, Kevin Durant at the 3, Julius at the 4, Joel Embiid at the 5. Any takeaways on either of these teams?
Yeah, I think your team's the best. Or
you didn't have to say that you knew which team it was. I was hoping to do something there where you guys would look unbiased and hey,
you said I didn't participate in the group chat. That's not true. It's not true. I said team 3 is the best.
Did you?
In our fantasy basketball group chat, I said you let this demon fall to round 8, and it was Al Horford.
And you didn't say which team was the best, though.
I thought I emphasized you emphasized.
Maybe you emphasized, but yeah, maybe you emphasized the test. But yeah, shout out to Dean, even though feeling that was mostly just his hatred coming out more than his actual objective basketball mindset. But I was you're gonna use this as a short clip and then send it over to Fluent because the way that he's doing it, he's plugging this into 2K as a matter of which team is best, which I think is BS because Steph Curry and Kevin Durant are on one team and Joel Embiid when fully healthy. So that on paper is probably going to do a little better than me, where I don't have any 3-point shooters besides Andrew Wiggins. But I don't know. I'm very confident that my team has. I have 8 players on my team. 7 of them are NBA champions. The other one's been to 2 NBA finals. So I'm very, very confident in my team. But I guess we'll figure that out on Sunday night at 10 o'clock. Quick plug there.
Sunday. The results from last week's draft.
Great question. I don't even know who won.
Did you win, John?
Did you win? I feel like I feel like you did, but I could be wrong.
5 minutes after it was posted, I was winning. So
Okay, give me 1 second.
I don't even think I voted for my team. I didn't see it was up.
I never vote for my team, so it's not.
You don't vote for your team?
No.
Baylor Shireman just hit a corner 3 and blew a kiss to the Sixer bench. Getting clowned by Baylor Shireman.
He's probably used to seeing him in Delaware.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Kata grabbed a sick Tatum pass on the block and pivoted like 12 times and then just dished it out. Just like,
sorry, guys, I'm trying to get this here. If you want to mention something else while I'm busy here, anything else to plug? Even though you guys don't create content, but that's okay. If you want to. Matthew, we haven't talked about dinner in a few weeks, but John, Matthew did redeem himself with his chili tonight. It was actually quite tasty. Actually, I'll give that an A+.
Yeah, put a little bit of rice, got some cheese, some sour cream. I bought some avocado today to put on top of it, but they were not ripe yet. So
it's the worst feeling in the world.
They're not going to be ripe for like 3 weeks. It seems like they are not even close.
Very firm.
By the way, Chris, your language before we started this podcast was unacceptable.
Yeah.
Was it really?
If your students, when your camera wasn't working.
that was before it started rolling.
Yeah, that's what I said. I said before this.
As the host, you should not have the most technical.
Before. Okay, well, I don't think I have the most. I think Matthew's pretty firm, number one there, but I could be wrong.
Disagree.
I mean, no, you're literally recording on your phone right now.
Yeah, and I didn't. I was ready. I was ready at 8:00.
Okay, well, I don't think we should get into a discussion as to who shows up more late on the pod because of technical issues, but I digress.
Chris, you look a little blurry today. Is that your MacBook camera?
No, it's my phone. Jerk.
No, the camera.
Like
the camera you're using, I'm saying.
It's not blurry, is it?
No. I was just kidding.
Okay, so it looks like John won with 4 votes. Then John won with 4 votes. Shout out to John Driscoll for voting for himself. Liam McAllister, Kevin Fay, and Kellen O'Neill. Shout out to the GB Scuccina.
-1 vote. Kellen doesn't know ball. -1 vote.
Kellen does not know ball. That's correct. Then Matthew with 3 votes. Tied for 3. Tyler Krauser, Mike Howell, who we saw on Sunday, and Trey Trignana.
Okay, we'll definitely take away that TC vote.
Mike Howell and Trey Trignano, who's a Celtics fan, so we're definitely holding on to that vote. Corzemba had 3 votes from Shane Connolly, who I haven't talked to in years, but he's still a loyal follower of the podcast. Matt Forcillo and Ben Barry. And I received 1 vote from guess who?
Liv?
Yes, from Olivia, guest of the pod. So she's the one person that voted for me, even though I knew from the start that I knew the Cooper flag was a mistake, but that's okay. I haven't posted the NBA Max results yet. I'm probably gonna wait for that on Sunday when I complain about losing on 2K. But yeah, I think I'll redeem myself then. But cool.
I thought Corzemba's team was really good.
What was that?
I thought Corzemba's team was I forgot who was on John's, but I thought Corzemba's team was really good. I thought he would win.
Corzemba, he had Wemby and Chet, and then Cade was his point. I forgot who his 2 wings were, but yeah, definitely a solid team.
He would probably win if it was like most successful in the next 10 years.
Yeah, true.
Like I had a bunch of people like late 20s that are like will be in their peak for the next 5 years.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, it's one of those things that was tough to strategize. But okay, so we've been very good with time lately as far as it goes for going over an hour. Which has been very nice. Luckily anyone after we hit, but that's been very great. But however, this is another episode of the All American Hoops podcast. Be sure to follow me on all social media platforms, including Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. Be sure to subscribe to both All American Hooper and to Sports Fluent to catch every episode at 8 p.m. on Thursday nights. Also, be sure to stay subscribed to Sports Fluent Media for for NBA Max, which is recorded on Sunday nights. We got a great episode coming up. John, Matt's always a pleasure having you guys on. But as per usual, keep grinding and stay hooping. Have a great night.
Oh, Canada.
Put on a suit, drink water, don't drink and drive. Hey, man, call your mother.
It means nothing. It means nothing.
Nah, they lying to you. It's about the money.
Now you're more fluent.